Robe is back. And that means we're giving you another not to video. Today we are going to teach you how not to get that first coding job. How not to get any coding job because you don't want to get a job. You want to continue doing the same shit you hate. Like the other 70% of the country that hates their job. That's what we're going to tell you today to make sure that you never, ever get your first coding job. Might I say, while you're out there not filling out job apps, might you interest yourself in the Humble Monthly Bundle? It's good for another 21 days, where for just $12 a month, you'll immediately get H1Z1 and then $100 of random games. This is good for another 20 days or so, and you'll help me out in the process. So some of you may be asking, why would we want to not get a coding job, Dylan? And I don't know. This is not the video for you. This is for the people who like making bad decisions. This is for the people who are bringing in a sweet $100 a week in unemployment, living at home, eating up all their parents' food, living the fucking dream. This is who this video is for, and we want to make sure that their dreams stay accomplished and no one messes it up. So that's what this video is for you. So the first thing that I want to talk about to make sure that you never land that coding role, that coding job, is communication. You don't have any. When you walk into a room, you want everyone to feel awkward. That's you. When you have to have a conversation, there is no conversation. There is, hi, how are you? Hi. And as creepy and as awkward as you possibly could make it, to make everyone feel uncomfortable. That's you. Because communication has everything to do with being a developer, but you don't want to be a developer. You want to make people say, you know what? I'm kind of scared of this guy. I don't want to give him a job. That's who you want to be. And we're not talking about, we're developers, right? These are developers that are looking to give you a job. They're by nature geeky, dorky, and awkward, but you are a special type of, I can't communicate in any fashion or form. Not because you don't know words. You got words down. You might even know sign language, but you cannot communicate as an individual, and you scare people in the process. So much so that you'll make sure you never get any job. It's definitely not a developer job. So number two is you don't have any code to show. That's a great way. That's the best way. You don't have a GitHub where you have code to show. You don't have a portfolio where you have code to show. When they say, do you code? All you say is yes. They say, do you have anything to show us? And you follow up with, nope. I got nothing, baby. I got nothing. I got no portfolio. I don't have no work experience. I got no GitHub. I got nothing. And you, oh man, you are so excited to tell them how you have nothing to show them to back up the fact that you can code. Yep, GitHub? Nope, you better get that out of here because I ain't got that either. And you just moving on. It's just, yeah, I got nothing. Don't. Of course not. Why would you have any code to actually show? Because you're trying not to get the job, remember? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make sure that you are not here and not you. $100 a week, living on a buddy's couch. You ain't need any more money than that. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. You don't need health insurance. You don't need PTO. You're always off. You ain't got no job. Well, you need paid time off when you just got unlimited time off. Don't worry about it, right? So the third tip is a good one in my opinion. You go solo. This is always a key on these not lists because you already know how not to get a developer job. So why would you want to seek out help from other people? But more so than that, on the few items that you do have, right? You got those to-do apps, right? You got those to-do apps and you didn't partner with nobody. You did everything solo because being part of a team and working with other people is the same reason you don't communicate. You don't want to be with other people. You're the Chuck Norris, baby, of not getting jobs. And you don't need anybody else on the team, right? So it's only you. You have no projects working with other people because that's too realistic to what being a developer is like, right? Because almost every developer is on a team. So you have nothing, right? You just, all I got is the to-do app that I did. I can't show you the code because that's key. That's number two. but just believe me that it is a beautiful to-do app. Well, take out beautiful, a shitty to-do app. and I did it alone, and I have no projects in which I collaborated with anybody, in which I worked with anybody else. In any open source project, or even everything I wrote, I touched, and there's no one else that helped me along the way, and nobody that I helped. I am a solo team member, a one-man team. I don't need anybody else. I don't want anybody else, all right? So you do it all solo, and you got nothing to show that, hey, I can work on a team, because that's definitely important to getting a job, and you don't want to worry about that, right? So you don't want that job, right? Number 4, this is my favorite on the list, to be honest with you, because this is the most real. This is going to be the most real for some of you right now. For the ones who stumbled upon this video and actually wanted to learn how to get a coding job, this will be the one that some of you might be a little salty about. You're not prepared. It's that simple, baby. When you were in school, and I don't blame you, I did the same thing in school. Took me a while to correct my habits. But when you were in school and you had a test, yo, man, you are studying the day before that test. You're like, what is this test on? I got no idea. You know what? I studied the day before, and oh my God, I failed the test. What happened? This is so absurd. That is you. You are an adult now, and well, legally you're an adult. You're probably if you're trying not to get a job like us, you are probably a child mentally, but that's okay. Legally, you are an adult making the poor decisions, and there's no one to hold your hand and tell you not to do these sorts of things. So you don't prepare. You say, hey, I want to get a coding job, but you don't spend time doing research, preparing for technical interviews. When you show up and there's an empty whiteboard and they give you a whiteboard problem, you leave that whiteboard empty. Because you ain't got nothing to say. You got nothing, right? You're not gonna dirty it up because you're not prepared. You got nothing to write on there, right? Because you didn't prepare. When you have interviews, and on the rare occasions that you do get those interviews, you make sure to shut them down real hard, and then you take no mental notes or no notes at all about what was covered, so that you could be prepared for the next interview, right? That's absurd. You don't, because that would mean that you might get closer to actually getting a role. When you know that you're going in for a Angular role, you don't do any research on Angular. You don't build anything in Angular for fun or to have something to show that you're interested in the role. No, you go unprepared, baby. You ain't got nothing. To take a very literal term, raw dog into the interview, and you're not prepared, you're not protected, you're just going in. That might be a little bit much, but you're just going in, and you are just, I ain't gotta worry about. I'm a free ball it. Well, whatever happens, happens. Hopefully, I don't get this job, right? So, number 5, another personal favorite of mine, is you don't stand out at all. There's nothing unique about you. Your resume looks like everyone else's resume who's not getting a job. You don't want it to be unique. The unique people get the jobs, right? That means that you have no pair programming experience on there, no volunteer experience, no custom projects, no meetups, and no passion, baby. You are as unpassionate as can be expected. Your GitHub, if you have one, hopefully you don't, is as generic as can be. And your LinkedIn, if you have a LinkedIn, doesn't showcase any of your passion, if you have any passion. And so you are, when your resume is there, it looks like everybody else's, and you're just hoping to get stepped over because you don't want to be unique. You don't want to be anything that stands out because you're trying not to land that role. You're trying to stay unemployed, those cushy paychecks, and keep it that way. So those are my 5 tips to make sure that you don't land your first coding job. Again, it's hot as fuck in this row. Having a little bit of fun today, guys, and I hope when you're out there looking for roles, I hope that you are figuring out what it is that you are trying to do with your life and understand how you can better your process, right? So communication, key. You really need to be able to have a conversation. There's a lot of great developers who can't get jobs because they refuse to work on the one soft skill that you need as a developer, which is to be able to be able to have a conversation with people and be able to communicate, because you will be, as I elaborate on number 3, communicating with teams, right? Number 2 is, and clients for that matter. Number 2 is you actually have code to show people. How many people don't have GitHubs? How many people don't have a personal portfolio and just say they code and they can't back it up, right? It's a lot easier to land those roles when they check out your GitHub and there's stuff on it. They check out your LinkedIn and they see projects on it. They check out your website and you have a website, right? So try and have code to show. Number 3 is if you have projects where you're working with other people, this is great because it can show that you can work on a team, right? So, maybe you'll help organize a meetup, maybe you volunteered, maybe you've done open source code, maybe you've done projects where you've built with other teams at a hackathon and things like that to show that you can work on a team. Number 4 is, again, I really do think a lot of people don't prepare for their technical interviews. For me personally, when I knew that I was going to be looking for a for a new job, I did code fights and I did the React Now degree program. I started studying Angular. And I did 100 algorithms on code fights to make sure that I could pass those whiteboard tests, so make sure that I could be prepared as much as I can, right? That doesn't mean that you're going to ace everything, but you're going to be much more prepared than if you don't, and a lot of people don't. And when I did go to an interview and there's a question I didn't know, I went home, I looked it up, and so on and so forth. So you have to really implement these things. And number 5 is be unique, right? So a lot of people are not unique in the slightest, and they just think like, well, this one person I know got a job just doing this one thing, and they make excuses and they compare themselves to someone who got lucky. Don't compare yourself. Be your own person and be unique and get that passion, because that passion is going to help you land your role, and that it's going to make your resume stand out, and they're going to be like, let me talk to this guy and see if he can do a for loop and has good communication. And if he does, the passion is going to draw him in, and those 2 things will basically be what gets you the job. So I hope that if you're looking for a role or you're thinking about getting a job role, that you have these 5 things, or the opposite of these 5 things. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share. Support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, baby, what's one way someone might not get a job or a coding job?
Show up late and ask them for a copy of your resume.
Quick shout out to DevicePlus.com. If you're interested in the latest IoTs, hacks, do-it-yourself projects revolving around Arduino and Raspberry Pi, they have some great how-to guides. I highly encourage you to check them out, and thanks for watching.